a forum. And actually, I've taken input from citizens before we even have a motion or a second. So, Mr. Hud, can I go back and have a motion and a second on this?
Sir.
Okay, and then continue with the citizen comments?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that the individuals who are speaking came up at your invitation to offer on that, so we can do the motion in the second, take the citizen comments per the charter, and then have the vote.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Member, I'd like to hear more expert comments first before I make a motion. Or
Okay, so from the audience,
yes, this gentleman wants to speak.
can we go ahead with it? All right, please step up. Yes, sir, state your name.
Mayor, City Council, my name is Sean Murray. I own a very successful fire and life safety business here in Floresville, Interceptor Technology Group. I can tell you that our industry is the most regulated industry in the state for obvious reasons. Fire alarm, fire protection, there's a lot of liability there. The state requires me to carry a minimum of $1 million in insurance on my business umbrella. But we carry $5 million because most of the customers we have a higher requirements. However, I can tell you that the average price per $1 million of insurance is $1,000 a year. That breaks down to about $83 a month. My water bill isn't much less than that. So, the point being, the reason the state wants businesses to carry that insurance is to protect the customer and the public at large from, you know, the odds are, and I'm not saying that every small business owner is like this, but the odds are that if they can't afford that coverage or they're not doing the things that they should, the customer's probably at great risk, and if something happens and something goes wrong, the customer has no recourse. The guy's going to fold up and move to another town, you know. So I really don't think this is a good idea. We need to make sure that business owners are responsible and carry the insurance they need to carry to protect themselves and the customers. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Rick Huber, citizen of Wilson County. I own an air conditioning company, and I don't have a dog in this fight, but I just wanted to come up for information, give you information. I carry $1 million myself. It is around $600 a year. So I go through a larger, maybe we could suggest to the contractors, I pool in with people that, of the light trade so that the rates can go down. But the requirement for an air conditioning contractor is less than $500,000. That's for an A license, which is, you can work on any size equipment. The largest ton of air conditioning to the largest BTUs of a heater. So that's as high as it gets. So it would be up to the contractor if he wants to carry more than that. But a B license, which is the residential people that can work up to 25 tons of air conditioning, is, I believe it's under $300,000 that they're required to carry.
Okay, so it's a lot less than 500,000. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments? Yes, please.
I'm Berlinda, and I live in Floresville. I own a business too. I do biohazardous decontamination, and I pay $1,600 a year, but I have to have $2 million worth of coverage minimum because I have city contracts, government contracts, including SAPD. So it's, you know, if you're a business owner and you can manage your money, you know, you have good financial management skills, that shouldn't be an issue for you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No other comments? Council? Now I have a motion to adopt adopt an amend or not to adopt an amend?
Make a motion to take no action on this.
Is there a second to take no action?
Second.
Any other citizen comments? Thank you. Okay. We have a no action. Motion and second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is CNA on presentation and acceptance of the recall petition. City Secretary?
Okay, once again, Mayor, I received a petition with 581 voters. It was found that 53 petitioners do not meet the requirement, and 6 petitioners that were marked suspended in the Wilson County registration poll. So that leaves us with 522 verified signatures.
Discussion? Any questions, council?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. Was this whole petition turned in on time?
A petition can be submitted at any time, so it was submitted. Whether or not it'll make it on a certain election, because we're subject to the uniform election dates, that's a matter that we can go through. But this item is just to accept the petition. When we go on to the hearing on the next one, we can go into that a little later.
Any other discussion, council? May I have a motion?
And this is a shell item, so it does need to be
Yeah,
accepted by the.
I'm sorry, it does need to be accepted?
Yes.
Okay, so may I have a motion?
Okay, I guess you want me to do it, Jim. So move.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Citizen comments?
I realize it's only a minute this time. My name's Carter Thomas. A bit ago, I was talking to you about just powers. They're only just if they're by the consent of the governed. Folks out here, I understand there are probably 40% more folks signed that than voted for any one of y'all. So, I ask you to do the right thing, because that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to abolish it. If we don't do it now, we'll do it later.
Still in Wilson County. As you probably are aware, I was out getting a lot of those signatures on the petition. And what struck me is the impact that Chris Talamantes, that his article had, that gave courage and conviction to the people that signed that petition that said they didn't have it before. So for some reason, they finally are afraid to come out of the shadows. So I hope you abide by what the citizens have put forth. Thank you.
Any other citizen comments? All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Raise your right hand. Madam Secretary?
202.
Mr. Hud?
Motion passes if there was abstention.
Motion passes. Okay. Item J, CNA to set hearing date for officers subject to submitted recall petition pursuant to section 6.04 of the city charter.
I'll come up to the podium for this one if you all don't mind.
Thank you, Chair.
So this is following the procedure for a recall petition. As we've gone through in the past, there's no state law governing recall petitions other than the date of the election and the date to order such an election. Everything else is governed by a city charter. Article 6 of our city charter contains all the provisions for the ordering of such a recall election. So what we've got here is 6.04 and 6.05 that are the pertinent parts of the charter tonight. We've got the filing of the city secretary and the acceptance or presentation to city council with the minimum required number of signatures, and that triggers the next provision. You'll see on there, it's got, and at the same meeting, the council must set a date for a public hearing to be held in not less than 5 business days. Since that's the next step, we've got today, so 5 business days starting the clock. I believe, I understand it to be Monday is a city holiday for President's Day, so that will not count as a business day. So it'll have to be set sometime between Monday's the city holiday, so it'll be Tuesday to Friday, because we do also have to comply with the Open Meetings Act and 72 hours to post and move forward.
So it can be on the 19th.
If that's Friday, yes,
Friday night.
that would be the last day for which to hold the hearing.
It's a public hearing?
Yes, as a public hearing where the subjects of the recall petition are granted the opportunity to come and refute the allegations that are contained in the recall petition. Present factual evidence, present arguments. There's no formal procedure on it. We don't have such. So sometime between then, I guess we'll have to have some sort of order to the proceedings.
Yeah.
Council, I refer to the January 7th City Council meeting under presentation discussion item 1B, sponsored by Mayor Castillo and Councilman Tejada, to address allegations contained in the recall petition concerning actions of City Council, and in the minutes presented to this council and approved by this council that have 3 paragraphs of people identified in the recall petition addressing all of the allegations. And it begins with Councilman Tejada read the heading of a recall petition that was published in the Wilson County News and continued to go on quite at length. I contend this public hearing has already occurred.
And Councilman, I would counter that it was not a public hearing, it was a discussion item. And second, at 6.04 of the charter is very clear that the public hearing must occur after the verification of the signatures per that provision of the charter.
Well, so a special City Council meeting is not a public hearing?
If it's styled as a public, like you saw today, we have public hearing styled on there and held it for the community block development grant.
Oh, okay.
But I will also point out, I understand where you're coming from, but the charter is very clear that the public hearing cannot be held until after the verification of the signatures. And I can read you the position. You look
I have the
puzzled.
city charter in front of me. I can
Okay.
read it. Yes, all right.
Any other questions? Then may I have a motion?
I so move to set a hearing date of February 18th to submit a recall petition pursuant to section 6.004 of the city charter.
Did you say that 18th?
Yeah, February 18th.
You have till the 19th.
said 19.
But he's saying for a week from today, I believe it's the date that you
I
said.
won't be here the 19th, so I mean, I'm not going to be able to.
The motion was the 18th.
The vote was, there hasn't been a second or a vote, so.
The motion was made. May I have a second?
Although I'm going to continue with my statement that I believe this public hearing has occurred, so this will continue. I'll second his motion.
We have a motion and a second.
And very quickly, for purposes here, can we set a time as well? Standard.
We haven't voted on the 18th yet.
Well, we haven't had a motion. The motion should incorporate it, so when we do get to the vote, it's all there.
Okay, so the motion should have the time.
At 7 o'clock.
And you concur with that?
I concur.
Just a second.
Citizen comments?
Get out of your way.
The first, I believe the first thing you said was the 19th, the first day.
Well, we have until Friday.
The 19th would be the absolute last day, and so the motion was made for the 18th.
The 19th is,
The Friday.
right, that's much more conducive because of the activities happening Thursday. But
Any other citizen comments?
Is that within the 5 days that we follow?
Yes.
Yes, because Mondays.
Carter Thomas again. This probably would not be a question, but I believe that the charter timelines are maximums. Y'all can do it quicker if you want to. We've already got it. You can move this up. To absolutely wait for the last second is kind of what we're used to in the White House right now. So,
Any other citizen comments?
I just have a question, and it's just a procedural question. Mr. Hug, this question's for you. What happens if we have this meeting next Thursday and the council doesn't have a quorum?
It would be what we call mandamus. I'll use it over here since you're.
And we're really not supposed to be answering questions, but with permission of council, if I can answer, since it's citizen comments. It would be a mandamusable action, which would mean if the hearing is not held, somebody could contact the judge and have a judge order it to happen.
Any other citizen comments?
Joni Huber, Wilson County. I just want to make a comment that it would behoove us to do things quicker in case things do happen. Someone's not here, we aren't able to do it. So is there a reason why we can't?
On Monday, my son has basketball practice. On Tuesday, it's family day. Wednesday has basketball practice, so Thursday will be the first day I'm available. And Friday, I'm also able to spend it at the council. And that's the truth. I'm not, that's the truth.
My name is Michael Olis, and I don't know if it's me, but I was walking up here and I was hearing all kinds of noise. Maybe one if I'm losing my mind or what, but anyway. My question is, like the chief of police said, that I think that being a city council and the mayor is part of the duties if it needs to be done. Not saying that family time is not important, but you know, it's part of the duties of serving the community. That's what I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is that y'all need to think about this. Seriously think about this. Because the city council, we're spending a lot of money because y'all asking questions, and it kind of tells me that somebody does another job. That's what it tells me when you're asking questions to the city council over and over. It shouldn't come to that. You should make decisions and right decisions. Thank you.
I would like to make another comment. My other comment is just when I asked that question, the reason I asked it is because I was not someone who signed the recall petition, but I would like to hear, because I hear a lot of accusations on like both sides, and I for one as a citizen am sick of it. I think you guys are costing Floresville business. I brought that up before and it's mutual. I mean, if you Google Floresville right now, watchdog.org comes up. That's sickening to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's not a good thing, okay? So what I would like to say is I really would like to hear, and I would like to hear, because there's a lot of accusations that corruption, this and that, but there's not been any corruption stated, except for perceived back and forth. And so, honestly, in all fairness, I would really, really appreciate if you guys show up to this meeting and you speak to this, because this is getting to be ridiculous. And as someone who actually lives in Floresville, I'm sick of it. So,
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we have a line back there? Okay, so please go to the back of the line. Okay.
Rick Huber, Wilson County. You have to believe me when I ask this about a timeline.
Sorry.
Is there a reason, could we do that hearing at any point in those 5 days, or does certain days mess things up in the progression of what follows after that?
The only minimum is we have to post 72 hours notice, so that would make Monday the first day. Monday's a holiday, so it would move to Tuesday, anytime between Tuesday and Friday.
But I mean, as far as what happens after the hearing, I don't even know what the next step is, but.
I can address that on the next agenda.
Okay, does it push it? I guess that would, I would be asking for something quicker if the meeting is last and it throws off the rest of the process.
Thank you. Next. State your name, please.
My name is Jim Dixon, and I have a question for Johnny. What were the reasons you had for picking on the 18th?
Monday, I coach a basketball team. Tuesday is the day I'm not doing basketball, so it's family day. And on Wednesday, my son has practice on a different basketball team. So Thursday was the first day I'm available. So if it's held on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I will not be here.
So with all due respect,
I'm in
the
town on my own
business,
schedule.
the
with all
business of
respect.
the city
Is that your
is
question?
less important than a basketball practice.
Yes. My son's more important than
Okay.
the city. And you can write that down.
One more thing.
Any day of the week.
Thursday is the Lincoln Day dinner, which is Lincoln Day dinner. For those of you not in the know, that's the Republican Party's fundraiser. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not Republican or Democrat, so it doesn't really affect me.
I don't like basketball.
Sean Murray, Wilson County. So if I was the president of the United States, and the Russians were attacking important,
Then I'd be making more than $75, so it's a different story.
But what I'm saying, Councilman, I don't mean to get.
But you are disrespecting me, really.
No,
You really are
I'm
disrespecting
trying
me.
to.
My motion was to set the date on that. I gave my excuse why that's the date. And I mean, it falls within the guidelines, so I think we're moving forward.
You can't say no to them.
I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Your civic duty, if you become a public servant, you have a civic duty.
Sir, I'm sorry, but you made a statement and given you an answer.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So I don't have a right to my free speech to speak any further.
No, but we're arguing now, so are you?
I'm not arguing, I'm just making a comment.
So
and a
finish your
statement.
comment, please.
Very well. I also noticed, Madam Mayor, that earlier you were asking people about whether they live in the county or the city, and it was in an offensive posture.
I just wanted to know, because you said, were you the one?
No, ma'am, I was
Okay.
not.
But
But,
they
you
said
know,
they weren't from here. He said he wasn't from here. I just wondered if he was from another state or another city.
Fair enough, you know, but the last time, I resent being called an out-of-towner. I mean, I own a business in Floresville, I worship God in Floresville, I shop for groceries in Floresville, my child plays in a Floresville park, and we buy ice cream dip cones at a Floresville Dairy Queen.
So your time is up.
Very well.
Thank you. Next.
Okay. Chris, the question, does it have to be procedural?
Yep.
And And the charter specifically states that one has to be done right after the other repetitively, instead of calling for the special election and then going through the remainders of the, it outlines it specifically like that.
Section 6.05 of the charter says you can't have the election until there's a hearing and they are offered their 10 days to decide whether to resign or face the recall election.
Can I follow up on his comment, Councilman? Okay. That's my privilege, Madam Mayor.
I didn't say a word, sir. Please go ahead.
Thank you.
Make your
I
statement.
will say if this goes off the hearing, if we can address it on the next item for open meetings purposes, since it is to order the election, we can address the issues of ordering the election.
Very well, I'll delay my question until the next agenda.
All right.
Thank you.
Quickly, Councilman Johnny, I heard you mention that Tuesday is your family day, which is very important, and Thursday you're open. Could you switch? Could Thursday be your family day, and Tuesday we could have?
I don't know, I guess we're good with the deadline. You know what, I'll even jump ahead to the next one, you know what? If we're gonna call the election today, I would vote for it to call a special election, okay? Because that's why I feel, okay? I'm pretty much fed up with this whole, you know, two-side thing. My weekly schedule, so, I mean, enough's enough, okay? You people are wanting an election, then you deserve an election, okay? You have 502 people that sign up. No matter what side I pick, you know, I'm ridiculed, you know? If I pick this side, I'm part of the gang. If I pick this side, Mr. Miller calls me a jester. So either way, you know, I'm calling names, so I'm pretty much fed up. I'm done with it. The next available date that I can attend a meeting is February the 18th. If everybody in this audience can't live with that, then that's not my problem. Simple as that.
All right, let's have a vote. All those in favor of setting the hearing for February the 18th, is that right? At 7 p.m. for officers subject to submitted recall petition pursuant to section 6.04 of the city charter. I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. And I think we've already had enough citizen comments, unless there's someone else. What's that? Okay, all those in favor? 2. All those opposed? 2 to 2.
Mayor, you're the tiebreaker.
I oppose.
Mayor, I make the motion.
I oppose. We're going to have another motion.
Mayor, I make the motion to have the public hearing on the 19th, on Friday, at 7 p.m.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, please. I have a motion and a second. We've already had.
Is it 7, yeah?
Yes.
I believe someone said there was a luncheon on Thursday night, so it probably wouldn't be good for Thursday.
Citizen comments? Citizen comments?
It's tough. But, Mr. Nieto,
Did you identify yourself?
I'm sorry. I'm Tomas Robles. Mr. Nieto, I'll buy your dinner for you and your wife. Be here Friday. I'm not trying to bribe you, but let's get it over out of the way. Let's get out of the way. You know, because we're gonna go back and forth.
Mr. Robles, we're already beyond that. We need comments on the 19th at 7 p.m.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But Mr. Nieto says he's not gonna be here. So, that's what I'm saying. Mr. Nieto's gonna be here, and if he's not, then it's not gonna work.
Are you through?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else?
not here at that meeting, will we have a quorum? Yes, if everyone else shows up.
Yes.
Unless the judge.
Oh, would you state your name, ma'am?
I'm sorry.
She needs it for the record.
Linda Hutchinson.
Linda Hutchinson.
Any other comments? County, this is very revealing, extremely revealing, and once again, I'm really ashamed because do you really think that we all love taking our time away from our family? And my son's basketball game that I had to miss tonight because this is so important to me. It's not you all whose time gets taken. It's ours. Look at what has happened. How much time has, yes, it's my choice because I'm fighting for freedom here, for my freedom. So much so that I walked away from my son's basketball game tonight and left him in San Antonio for my daughter to drive him home. That's how much I care. And you know what? I put a lot of time into this, and it's very sad to me that you as elected officials can't rearrange your schedule when the people have spoken, and it's not just a little amount of people. I'm sorry, it's taken a lot of time out of my schedule. And you think it's ridiculous? Why do we have to be here? Because of you all. That's why.
Any other comments?
I'm Joyce Stinson, and I have a question. Is it required that it has to be, the date has to be a Monday through Friday? Can we call a special meeting for Saturday afternoon?
It says within 5 business days, so it have to be on the calendar.
I'm sorry, Chris, I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. It says within 5 business days, so it would have to be on a business day.
So tomorrow is the first business day.
But unfortunately, that won't comply with the Texas Open Meetings Act that requires 72 hours of notice to post.
And Monday's a holiday.
Counselor, okay, just for conversation's sake here, it says public hearing. It doesn't say council meeting. So if a meeting was scheduled where those three, not a quorum, okay, addressed the issues by themselves and the remaining council members were not there, then we would not be subject to the timelines of open meetings and publication.
In the past, I've opined that a public hearing requires a quorum because it is to receive and conduct city business.
But there's no action.
It doesn't matter, it's still to receive and conduct city business.
Now, the other point I will make about the 19th is part of the reason why the desire to push the time limits is the 19th is the deadline to put anything on the ballot. So the 18th would make more sense to occur before.
Any other citizen comments? All right. Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to have the meeting before 5 p.m. on the 19th? If the meeting were before 5 p.m., there have been special meetings called before 5 p.m. on other days. I believe that precedent has already been set. Is that a possibility?
Legally, yes.
Legally, it is a possibility. They haven't. And so what you're telling us is the law says that if something is not submitted by 5 p.m. on the 19th, that would prohibit the special election?
No, there's still other things that I can talk about on the next agenda item that would have to be met before a special election could be ordered.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Any other citizen comments?
My name's Nick Nissen. I live on Floresville, 132 Grandview. And you guys confused the heck out of me. I was in the government for 10 years working for the city, like you guys. My question was asked, do they have the right to say anything if they cannot vote against their recall? You said a minute ago, no. So what are they bringing the date up for?
I never said that they couldn't vote.
Well, I
They
thought
they are
that-
entitled to vote,
Okay.
and I cited case law that stated that.
Okay, you confused the heck out of a lot of people out there, because you said something like, they can say no or not vote or take a vote, so,
They can abstain.
okay. So should you do that and get the 18th at 7 o'clock where everybody's here and people can get it on the 19th?
We already have a motion in a second to the 19th.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, think about it.
Any other citizen comments? All right, let's move to a vote. All those in favor of setting the hearing for February the 19th at 7 p.m. for officers subject to submitted recall petition pursuant to section 6.04 of the city charter. May I have all those in favor? All those opposed? See, I get to break the tie again, I guess. I'm in favor. You don't think I would vote against it, do you? All right, next item. Motion carries. Madam Secretary. Thank you. CNA, at the request of citizens of Floresville, order a special election for the recall of Mayor Sherry Castillo and council members Daniel Tejada and Juan Ortiz.
Councilman, before you start talking about your timeline, we've all heard it, we've read about it in the newspaper, it's been gone over again and again, and my point is, we talked about the city charter as it related to enforcing ordinances, and we talked about intent, okay? And I've got countless pages from your office on definitions of this word and definitions of that word. What I believe is that the intent of the charter has been met in that, although not in the sequences the charter describes, the intent has been accomplished in that a petition was presented to this council, accepted in a 2-0-2 vote, validated by the city secretary. We have several pages of meeting minutes where every one of the charges, if you will, in that petition were addressed by those identified in the petition. And that was a public meeting, okay? And actually even included direction to city staff in a couple of items following that. And significantly more than 10 business days has passed since that occurred. So really, all of the intentions of the city charter have been accomplished. That's my thought process for a moment. Now my question to you is, not what does the city charter say, can this council order that election?
As of today, no. Eventually, yes, when the timelines are compliant.
This council bypassed the charter when it came to other items because of the
We have
intent.
disagreements on that. Sorry, Councilman.
Because of the intent. Okay, and I'm not going to go through your presentation again, and I think everybody's heard it. And I believe that this council does have the authority to order a special election. Okay? And if that wants to be challenged, then so be it. Let somebody challenge that through the appropriate process, the mandamus processes that you bring up through the district court and as such. And therefore, I'm going to move now that at the request of 522 validated signatures and probably some 200 people standing in the parking lot before this meeting began, and standing room only citizens of this community, to order a special election for the recall of Mayor Sherry L. Castillo and council members Daniel Tejada and Juan Ortiz. There is a motion on the floor.
Before we go any further, Mr. Hug and Mr. Miller, if you don't mind, I'm going to state my reasons on my decision. I briefly touched on them earlier. I know it's unfortunate we're trying to meet all these these guidelines and dates. You know, I for one was against the removal of Mr. Miller. You know, when that came up, you know, I didn't agree with the council's actions. You know, it's also hard to turn your back on two other councilmen and a mayor because of their actions that they've done. But I do understand what the people are asking for. I mean, there is 522 signatures on this recall petition, so it's pretty clear what those 522 people are asking for, and that's to put these two gentlemen and Madam Mayor on a ballot to have them removed. That doesn't necessarily say they will be removed, but it gives the people the opportunity to vote for it. And I don't necessarily agree with that either, but as everybody's been saying, it's not the will of Eric, it's the will of the people. So that's what they want. So I'm going to second Mr. Miller's motion.
Yes. Councilman, have you been Tuesday day off?
I'm sorry.
Have your family day off?
Mr. Hutt?
Thanks. There is a motion and a second, but since we've been going back and forth on legal questions during here, I think I'd like to take this opportunity to address some. This is a legal process, and as Councilman Miller said, if this vote goes through, one of the council members could challenge it by a mandamus action stating that it's not a legal ordering because it didn't follow the process of the charter. We do have in law timelines that have to be met. If I sue somebody, they have the Monday following 20 days to answer. Just because I know that it's a contract, it's open and shut, I can't go to a judge 10 days in and say, Your Honor, here's the proof, I'm ready to go. They have to be given an opportunity to answer. That's the same case here, and those are the deadlines that we're dealing with. So if this does go forward, I can tell you, if somebody files, it's going to be thrown out. So if it's obviously a council vote, but from my legal opinion, and it's been offered, that's the status of where we're at.
Thank you, Councilor. I can count a couple of occasions where individuals have had to seek legal mandamus against the actions of this council. And those sitting council members didn't cost them anything. The individuals who filed the writ for mandamus had to pay for it themselves. And again, as Councilman Nieto has so eloquently said, this is what the people are asking us to do. And I think we should take that action. I think it's worth the risk.
And there is a motion and a second, so there can be a vote, and we'll leave it at that.
We have audience comments. No audience comments?
Well, actually, Mayor, before you go through citizens' comment, I'm going to come back to our agenda item that we discussed about the ability to recuse oneself from the vote. And although not mandated by the law, I think morally and ethically, those people identified in this recall petition should recuse themselves from voting.
I will not recuse myself. I will vote if I have to. Anyone else?
Still open for comment?
Yes, citizens' comments, please step up.
Council Mayor, I'm Galen Jansky. My question to you three that are up for recall, if you really believe the citizens of Floresville want you on this council, put your name on the recall, put on the ballot, and be reelected to your position. But if you're not, you're a coward by not doing that. That's what everybody wants. Let them vote and find out which way to go. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Tim Law, citizen of the city. And I want to address this specifically. When y'all were questioning,
Sir, who are you addressing it to?
To me.
Oh, all right.
Councilman Tom, when you were questioning the qualifications of Councilman Miller, I heard y'all say many times, this would be in his best interest for all of those investigations and all of that looking to happen. But suddenly, when the finger's pointed at you, you really don't want it to happen. That's a very hypocritical position to take, and it really puts you guys in a bad light You're trying to improve your image. The mayor's already said we need to come back to harmony. Do this, just like you did it to him. Let the folks vote on it. You think you have a majority. I've heard Fred say that you guys have got a silent majority. If you do, as the previous gentleman said, you're safe.
Thank you, Jim.
Anyone else? All right, we'll go ahead with the vote. All those in favor of ordering a special election for the recall? Raise your hand. All opposed? I vote for no special election. Madam Secretary? Motion carries. The next item is an executive session.
Madam Mayor, let me just make one comment, since Mr. Long directed to me clearly. We received a legal opinion several weeks ago. All the council had privilege to that same information. Mr. Miller had that same information. That the deadline had passed, the petition was dead weeks ago. But I can guarantee you, for those who were passing out the petition, that Mr. Miller did not inform those that were writing the petition. The petition was dead a long time ago.
Point of order. Mr. Hug just admitted to that earlier that
Mr. Rodriguez, please step up to the podium.
you're going to throw me out. You had me fearing for my life. Now, Mr. Hug just mentioned earlier that it is a valid petition. So what's the deal? It is a valid petition. It wasn't stated anything. The petition can be turned in at any given time. It was a valid petition.
The petition,
Bottom line.
The petition is invalid because it doesn't meet the requirements of the state charter
It
and state
meets-
laws of Texas.
It meets all the requirements.
Address the validity of the petition.
And I will clarify here, the petition under the terms of being able to be submitted to the city council is valid with 522. The timelines that are being discussed rely on setting hearing dates and decision-making time periods and when elections can be ordered. Those are set by the charter and state law. Those have not necessarily gone by yet, but if you read the charter and if you look at election law, they are contained in there.
Yes, ma'am, please step up.
Yes, I'm Ofelia Silva. So that means that your 3 votes from the council and yourself, so that means that there's not going to be a special election held?
Yeah, the attorney just said it was.
No, that's not the vote.
Ma'am, it means a special election will not be ordered tonight. Eventually, we'll get to a
But
point
there
in the
will
process.
be a special election.
There will be a special election to fill some currently vacant seats. As far as the recall, that will depend on the timelines that are present in the charter and state law.
And Councilor, just to be a little clear, the deadline to order a special election for recall is February 19th,
Correct.
next Friday. Okay? They approved the meeting to address the issues to occur next Friday at 7 p.m., which is 2 hours after the deadline to submit.
Too late.
Okay? Secondly, they're claiming that they've got another 10 days to wait after that hearing. Therefore, since we are passing the date of the 19th, which is the deadline to put it on the ballot, which is the purpose of the motion that just got defeated by the 3 named on the recall, to order the election, hence Mr. Tejada's comments that the motion is, that the petition was dead, because they have passed all these, it took 10 days, actually 13 days now, for this to get to the city council after it was submitted. Okay, which 13 days ago, we could have ordered the 5-day public hearing, had it in 3 days, and the 10 days would have gone, and we would have been fine to order the election by the 19th. But if we allow 10 business days, and wait till the next regular city council meeting to receive the petition, and then allow 5 more days for the public hearing, and another 10 more days for them to decide if they're going to resign or not, oh, we're past the deadline. Okay, hence my motion that was defeated, clearly, in this room, and everybody saw it, and who defeated it. But so, by them not ordering the election tonight, okay, there will be no special election for the recall.
So all these signatures were just thrown out in the air?
Essentially, 581 signatures is less than 3 votes.
Yes. I understand that. So so they're just gonna throw all those petition names out and just not call it an election?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't think that's right.
Any other comments?
We don't have citizen comments, we're past the agenda item.
Sorry.
This is got way off track after there was already a vote and everything else.
I'm
We were
sorry.
on to the next agenda.
Yes, Mayor can have
You're right.
Ms. Mayor, I have one more thing. Again, I really disagree on that that they did, because if it were for somebody that you wanted to get elected or somebody else wanted to get elected, I'm pretty sure they would have made their possible to get that election come in.
Thank you for your comment. All right, we'll go on to the next item. Executive session pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney to discuss legal implications of an alleged burial in the wrong plot at the city cemetery and issues related to property ownership of such plot and property dangerous about the matter. Are we going to do this in open session?
There's no reason to go into executive session. I don't have any attorney-client privileged information to share with the council on this one. The brief update is when we came out, I was directed, as city attorney to